Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 23rd of May. So, okay, as I've just been reminded, we're going to have the men with their white sleeves turned up, rolled up, talking about the UK politics for the next 6 weeks. 6 weeks too long for my liking. Anyway, so goodness knows what's going to happen to the pound. Well, it'll probably be business as usual on the pound because it's more dictated by the current happenings and the current data that's coming out than anything else. And yes, it will be affected with the result of who wins. God only help us. Anyway, on that note, let's look at news events coming out today. It's which one have I got? It's that one. Don't know why I'm looking at that. I was looking at what's coming up in the comments. I'm just going to use this Forex factory today. Don't know why I've got that open. Close up. So that's not today. Today is all about PMI. I can tell you now. There we go. So we've got the French French at 8:15, the German at 8:30. They're the two key ones this morning before 9:30, and of course we've got the UK at 9:30. I say that because we've got the European data. The big movers are those individual countries there, in particularly the German, as the old powerhouse. But then we've got the after that in the afternoon 2:45 from Chepstow. Sorry, no, 2:45 from the US. We've got the flash and services manufacturing there as well. So all out today. So we may get a bit of volatility around those. They used to give us a lot less volatility, and everything gives us volatility at the moment, and growth is important. In fact, we've seen a lack of growth, which is not really shown too clearly on here, but all these sub 50 numbers that you see here are contraction. So these economies are still in contraction in terms of manufacturing right the way through. I think services are nearly there everywhere now, or are there now. Yep, manufacturing, services. So services is really the key one on most of these economies here. However, manufacturing is still very important, particularly the German market. It used to be one of the leading sort of lights there, but anyway, watch out for those today. 8:15, 8:30, 9 o'clock ish, 9:30, 2:45 this afternoon. Right, let's look at the markets themselves. The euro dollar, well, I don't know why I've got this little thing on here. I've obviously put something there and it's stuck. Anyway, yesterday rolled over further. Today we're just sort of seeing it in sort of chop land. We'll see what happens. It's looking softer. It's lost its I was looking previously at further upside. I think it's going to go dull. Short term really shows it, lower highs, lower lows. We could come up and catch the pivot today. We'll see what happens off that. If it does, the only thing, if it does hit the pivot, I'm less interested in it than I would be if it went straight up and hit the pivot, because it'll have put a higher low in at that stage, and it's structurally potentially changing the market movement. So for now, lower highs, lower lows, I'd prefer to be on the short side, but there's nothing clear on it as I look at it. The pound, which if this works, it'll be good. There we go. You can see the mess the pound is in. The reaction yesterday to the election coming through. There we go. So firstly we had the numbers coming through, and then later on we had the election called, and there was a bit of joy, and then uncertainty, and then joy, and then uncertainty, and well, it's got into quite a muddle there yesterday. However, the overall movement for the pound appears to be to the upside. Now this morning there could be a sell back down towards the S1 from where we are. There's space in terms of doing it. Of course, we've got to wait for the news at 9:30, so there's no point trying to trade this before the news. So my preference, and if the news comes out well, we would be to the upside, because that's largely where we've been before, excluding this mess. Dollar yen, I want to go slow this morning here. Not me personally, it's the machine, I can assure you. So the dollar yen, well, yesterday did manage to bobble up a little bit there, as I thought it might, but it's still very, very slow. But if you want to sit in a very slow trade, there's the potential for it to continue in that direction. It's very weak. Sentiment remains weak on the yen, so it's pushing the US dollar is pushing up stronger against it. Aussie dollar. So the Aussie dollar. Now, one thing I'd say, I've been watching the commodities, and the commodities are all coming off at the moment, or have been coming off. Yeah, the copper's coming off. And there's the more I look at copper and then look at the reason why it got inflated in the first place, I'm now thinking perhaps copper was pretty well overcooked. There was expectation that the Chinese market was really going to take off, but it appears particularly their building side of things isn't taking off, and is in a real doldrums or drop in, and that uses a lot of copper, and well, that might just spoil things a little. Anyway, the Australian dollar, it did have that lovely breakout on Wednesday there yesterday, and broke through the neckline of this sort of inverted head and shoulders, but it seems to be a bit struggling at where it sits at the moment. Like everything else, it came off lower highs coming through, and it's, well, with the lower copper is one of the major exports. It ain't looking wonderful, is it? But we'll see. I would be looking at this. I prefer to see it running into its pivot, but there's a relatively clear bear flag sitting there, which could take us down a reasonable pace. Now we're sort of quite a way away from the previous highs here, so we've broken those. We've got lower highs coming through. It's soft. If I bring it back to the 4-hourly here, this week we've really just been largely pushing down, and it just looks soft to me at the moment. And with the commodities coming down, I think that could have a knock-on effect, even a bigger knock-on effect. The US dollar CAD is pushing up, but just off a little bit at the moment to this morning here, but it looks like it's got further upside. I was talking about this yesterday on the update, on the extra update I do at 10 o'clock that I stick on my Telegram etc. charts, and that could be yet heading back to these prior highs. It's in the trend, it's pushing up, moving quite nicely, so that's where it could be going. Just look for the short term here. It's selling off at the moment. Yes, it could come back, and we could get the turn. And if you're not in it, if you get some support into its daily pivot, it could be I'd be looking for the long side from that. Okay, New Zealand dollar. So we've got lower highs, lower lows running through here up until now, and we've now put these higher lows through. New Zealand dollar, it's apparently the strongest this morning, but how long that will last for, we'll see. But it's performed overnight pretty decently, but it's whether or not it can continue in that direction. The data was quite positive for it yesterday, and we saw this rally, but it all come off, and I'm wary. I just think it might all come off again. Had its rally. Let's see if it starts breaking down below that pivot. Well, it could be on for another test of that quarterly pivot. Okay, there's the majors there. Euro pound we were looking at. We've been looking at it. I mean, the problem with the euro pound is it's just been going and going, and we've been missing effectively. Oh, some of us have. I mean, yesterday we didn't have a lot of option around that, but that sold off quite nicely. Today it's not looking quite as pretty because of what's happened here. It's consolidating, going sideways down here towards the lows. what I'd ideally like is a pullback to its daily pivot and then reversal and sell, but with what we're seeing, it might still shape up that way, but it's flatter, and well, it could just go, of course. It might just break the lows and roll on down. I'm still more positive to the side of the pound than I am to the euro, so I think it's got more to come, but these PMI figures today will really show this off, so let them come out 9:30. After 9:30 it's all ours to trade. Let's see if we can catch a trade. Okay, I'm not going to go through the other majors at this stage. I'll do that in the room in a short while. Indices and gold, and let's have a look at gold. I almost burst into a bit of Tony Hadley then, and Spandau Ballet, and sung it to you, but I decided against it because it's a good way of losing an audience very quickly. So you can see gold, it put in its wedge pattern there, and it's basically come off yesterday, broken off in quite a big way, coming back down towards that 200. There's a trend, there would be a trend line across there-ish, depending how badly you draw it, really. I was just looking, perhaps not, but the 200 is quite a nice trend there. A break of that really does send it more bearish after all this time of nice bullishness. You can see on the lower time frames here, lower highs, lower lows, not looking good. A break today, well, we've already seen a break of the S1. We could see it if it rolls back, come up post 8 o'clock. We could see it running back towards the S2 there. Really rolled over yesterday, particularly in the afternoon. Oil, again coming off. It's just come down the time frames here, lower highs, lower lows. It's coming back to those prior lows here. Right old mess yesterday, and this is why I'm just keeping out of it at the moment. I can't trade, well, I can trade it, but I could probably lose money, so I won't trade it whilst it's doing this. So it's become a bit of a non-tradable on the short term. Yes, I could perhaps take a position or a swing on it, but for me it used to be a nice little day trade. Perhaps I've got to look at it a little bit different and just take a position at some point, but probably not from here. Left it too late now. Anyway, we'll see what happens today, but I'm just really following it. Just something I'm following. Now, yesterday then, what happened there then? Nvidia flew out the gates. They absolutely lots of positive surprises on the Nvidia, including a stock split, which might be worth looking into once it happens, because this is how the likes of Microsoft and everyone else became so massively big in terms of stock pricing. Was on the spot, so they're doing a 10-to-1, so their cheaper price stock would be more available for people to buy and potentially push up stronger and more. Anyway, the S&Ps, they've been pushing up a bit flat really overall yesterday, but still in all-time highs territory, even with this little retracement on the hours here, hourlies. Nasdaq, so obviously the same, pushing through new all-time highs. As I said, it's not one of those times to be trying to jump out of this. Okay, the Dow Jones not pushing up quite so far, it's just a tad weaker. Now, it doesn't mean to say I'm massively preferring the upside in these markets, but a lot of upside. As I said, there's reason for weakness in them at some stage, but I don't want to be the first to be losing money. DAX, okay, continuing to consolidate, not really going anywhere. Must be really horrible if you're a DAX intraday trader. There are moves, but there's a lot of chop sitting through there, so if you don't get in there quickly, make an early killing. The first hour there yesterday, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, it moved. Yep, okay, we got in at 7 o'clock, even better, but that was looking bullish at the time. or marginally more bullish, although we have got the overall hint of lower highs, lower lows there now. It's turning a little bit this morning. Maybe we'll get a push on back up there, but not the clearest. And the FTSE is the same, very iffy overall. What the sentiment will be like now, we've got an election coming up and effectively nothing else happening, I don't know, but really it's still down to this big movement here was down to the higher inflation coming through here. Looking at it at the moment, actually on this lower time frame, I'm thinking, well, if it can break down beyond those prior lows, perhaps we've got some more downside back to the lows themselves. So we'll see. It is a difficult area to be wanting to short in, though, but for a little intraday short, maybe. Right, okay, that's it for me for this morning. I wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you later. Take care. Bye for now.